Hello, this is Chris Brown again with Crypto Novus, where newbies become masters. And tonight I was going to do a 5-minute little quick post on governments involved in crypto. And as I started doing the research, it actually became very, very interesting. And I think it's going to be a lot longer than simply 5 minutes. So let me just take you through the various different things that I kind of discovered, walk us through it, and hopefully you'll find this information just as informative as I have. And the whole point behind it is, as the market increases in terms of adoption, governments are definitely going to be a part of it. And they've been pushing and resisting against it, but they're not going to win the battle, clearly. As institutional investors get involved with it, that's too large scale. And then, of course, the retail investors is just booming at this point in time. So let's kind of jump into the information and kind of educate ourselves a little bit as to what's been happening in the last year, and then just kind of fast forward and what's been happening in the last few days. I came across this organization called GBA, which is the Government Blockchain Association, which is it's an international nonprofit professional organization with its headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia, here in the United States. Its focus and its members are organizations that are interested in promoting blockchain technology and solutions to governments. This membership is available to government employees, students, private sector people, and corporations, this is very, very interesting. So it is a think tank, if you will, and a group of people that are interested in basically cryptocurrency and blockchain adoption into governmental institutions. An article was written actually March of this year, and here's the title of it: The Impact of Cryptocurrency Adoption on Governments, and it's huge. As we scroll down, I'll read the first paragraph. Over the past decade, cryptocurrencies have gone from the white paper, it's just a simple idea, a theoretical concept, to actually being worth billions of dollars in the marketplace. And, if you look at the text here in red, and I'll kind of highlight it, and this is a strong statement, that if a person back in 2009 had bought $1 worth of Bitcoin, that same purchase would be worth over $4 million today. At the same time, if they would have kept that dollar and not bought Bitcoin, their buying power would only be worth 85 cents. Now you got to stop and think about that. This says a lot about governments, about the printing of money, and what happens to fiat currency because they continue to print money, or not money, but print fiat currency. It shows the value of the cryptocurrency world and the store of value that Bitcoin has been able to solidify over the past decade, and why this really isn't going to go anywhere, and why it's really important for governments to really kind of lock in and figure out how they're going to work with this. So in this article, there's two things that governments are presently considering and doing in regards to cryptocurrency. One is issuing their own backed currency, and we'll take a look at a couple of countries that are beginning to go down that pathway. And then the other one is exempting transactions under a few $100s from capital gains tax. If that happens, retailers, restaurants, convenience stores, and gas stations will begin accepting cryptocurrency. And that is, in fact, beginning to happen here in the States. I'm not too sure what's happening in other countries, although I know crypto is being used, and I'm going to dig more into that in this video, but also in subsequent videos as well. So here, what we have is, which governments are using blockchain right now. This article was written almost exactly a year ago. And what I found very interesting about this is the list was much, much longer than I had thought that it ever was. So I'm just going to kind of scroll down this list of countries that are presently using cryptos and what they're doing with it while using cryptocurrency and in adopting blockchain technology. It's a combination of both, actually. So the first one on the list here is Canada. So in Canada's case, most of the things that are listed here are in relationship to adopting blockchain technology. Now we come down into Mexico. On this list, items 2 and 3 really kind of stand out to me. The second one is the Digital Government Unit. This one here, the Ministry of Public Administration of Mexico. Its project is about leveraging the technology of blockchain to track and validate bids for public contracts, which I can definitely see that being utilized across the globe, being in construction myself. And then the former president, Vicente Fox, he's working on a project that's in the agricultural arena, that uses and investigate applications of blockchain to increase transparency and reduce corruption again within the Mexican government. Those are obviously very good uses of the technology. As we scroll down, the US, and it's a long list of items here. US is always in the news, but what I find interesting is that for the longest time, the US was very resistive against blockchain and well, against cryptocurrencies, not so much against blockchain, but publicly they pushed back on it. Most recently, there's a lot of conversation and adoption of it. But when you start to look at this list of all the things and the institutions like the Naval System, Department of Health and Human Services have invested $49 million to build AI and blockchain solutions to reduce operational backlog and cost. And I think that's a great use again of it. So I think that's smart on their part. Postal services have done some considerations. Homeland Security, not surprised. Food and drug. The list goes on and on and on and on. So let's pause for a second. What does that really say? It says with as much pushback as the United States has done against cryptocurrency and the adoption of cryptocurrency, in the background, they were doing a lot of work to figure out how they could get ahead of this technology and control it. That's how I see it. Now we scroll down into South America, Argentina, which we will speak about later. What I find interesting here is in Argentina, they are really pushing it because they're giving, this is no small measure. They have a Labor's Accelerator program, which is offering $50,000 grants to support blockchain startups. This is significant. It means that as a government, they're willing to back the technology by putting dollars to it and encouraging entrepreneurialism. I think that's fantastic, personally. Europe, of course, we know. Austria, Denmark, Estonia. Estonia has made some significant steps towards adoption. Actually, from the top one since 2008. So again, Estonia is focused really, again, on the blockchain technology, which is fantastic. And I really get it. Number 3 makes a lot of sense to me, and is something that I think more countries will consider, and that is how do you adopt the blockchain technology into their voting system. You can see here, the government created e-Estonia program, which boasts 99% of services held online. 44% of that use of online for voting, 98% of it for tax declarations and filing, 98% of it for digital IDs. Wow, this is really impressive. So we have Georgia, we have Germany. We scroll down and we have Ireland, we've got Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, yes. Malta, I'm sure those that are in the crypto space are not surprised to see Malta. The Netherlands, again, not surprised. Slovenia, Spain. Spain would be, let's take a look closely at what Spain is doing. The first one is really interesting. The Ministry of Energy, Tourism, Digital Agenda co-financed a project, Trust for Wills, which facilitates end-of-life contracts for users of digital services in Madrid. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Peeking down at the bottom of the screen is, of course, Sweden, Switzerland, the UK, the Ukraine, now Africa. So you've got Ethiopia. Ethiopian government is exploring possibilities to use blockchain in the agricultural world. Ghana is in partnership with Bitland, launched a pilot project to register land on the blockchain. Now, I've taken a class with Berkeley on blockchain and the applications of it, and Africa has really been very, very receptive to the technology to figure out how they can manage a variety of problems that they have in Africa, and how they can deal with the problems, in particular, with those that are on the poor side of the economic stratus. We keep traveling down. We got Kenya, Liberia, Nigeria, Rwanda, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, Zimbabwe, and Asia. Of course, Asia, China, Hong Kong, India, Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, Thailand, Dubai, Australia. I think we end with Australia, and you can kind of see the long list of things that Australia's been doing. Looking at this the bottom two, starting here, standards. Australia received. Let's see what this is. Standards Australia received a US $250,000 boost from Australia's Liberal national government to promote the development and standards international blockchain standards. A little wordy, but I get the idea. The Australian government signed a 5-year deal to accelerate the uptake of blockchain, AI, and quantum computing in the public sector. That last one is really, again, where I think a lot of this is going to wind up going. The combination of using blockchain technology and AI together with quantum computing, and I don't know much about any of these, to be quite frank with you, but I can feel how they're going to be integrated together and become a major part of our life going forward. I know AI is, and so it's definitely something to watch. This is a 5-year deal. Back in 2019, they still got 4 years of development left to go. So most of the things that we saw listed there dealt with blockchain and the use of blockchain as opposed to cryptocurrency as we know it. But the lead in from cryptocurrency, the baseline for cryptocurrency is, of course, the blockchain technology. So if they're using the technology, it's just a matter of logical thought that the use of cryptocurrency is going to come next. As you think about it, if you're going to want to get the average person involved, you're going to want to start them off with a practical use, which is the transference of goods and services and the exchange of funds going back and forth. So there's where you get the average person beginning to use this technology that is much more advanced and much more, what's the word I'm looking for, complicated than the average person really wants to think about. So what I want to do now is I want to take a look at a few articles that talks about how countries are actually adopting the use of cryptocurrency. Economically, you know that Venezuela has been in a very, very bad position economically, and the people have really suffered tremendously there. And the fiat currency that they have been using gets devalued. Was getting devalued like on a weekly and daily basis. It was hard for them to keep track. And so the one thing that did find some stability in that country is the use of cryptocurrencies. So what the government has basically done is they have decided to basically double down, and they are launching their own crypto exchange. And the coins that they want to use on this particular exchange, which makes the first one makes a lot of sense. The Caracas Petro token. I mean, oil was the thing that put them on the map, which gave them their wealth. I won't get into all the details as to what happened, but it unfortunately, when the price of oil dropped, their economy just tanked with it. But along with that, they're going to start off with Bitcoin, of course. They're going to do Litecoin next, and then Dash. That's very interesting as pairings, and these are going to be paired with their Fiat Bolivar. The exchange's name will wind up being called the Venezuela Exchange, or VEX. They're going to obviously use the peer-to-peer technology, and this is interesting too. Well, I guess it's just part of the exchange that you're going to have a government-issued crypto wallet app as well. Sonacrypt, I can't pronounce that guy's name. This digital platform will let users carry out transactions in the crypto exchange market. the article gets juicier. Basically, it says here that the government's going to be revamping their own website, and they're going to have it with features which will include Bitcoin and altcoins. Well, the altcoins, Dash and Litecoin, but I've got a sneaking suspicion it's going to be much more than just those two. The last paragraph, obviously just listed here, talks about various wallets and who's staying in Venezuela to do business and who is leaving. And I'm not going to get into all of it, but you can kind of see the politics behind it. I want to just also jump over to this article right here, which I find very interesting. And this was written back in October, but the Venezuelan president Maduro, I think if I pronounce his name correctly, has spoken about a new bill that proposes to legalize the use of crypto in international trade deals. That is significant. Of course, other countries would have to agree to it, but the mere fact that he is proposing that, as I think, again, pretty bold. It says basically here that basically Maduro made a televised speech proposing the new bill aimed at stimulating the use of Petro, which is the token that they have, Caracas's token, and other global crypto assets in domestic and foreign trade. Boy, this is bold. It'll be interesting to watch this and see how far he gets. I know that he's definitely going to get some pushback, but he's trying to save his country and get this country out of the hole that they're presently in. So I give him a lot of credit for that. I didn't realize what I was saying, but this little paragraph kind of sums it all up. It says, and the president claimed that the sanctions had wiped out 99% of the country's foreign currency revenue in the past 6 years, estimating losses of around 65 billion US dollars between 2015 and last year, which would be 2019. Oh, that's a bigger problem than I can digest at this moment in time. Let's kind of move on to the next one real quick. This is Argentina. Argentina basically has a politician who wants to build a state-backed crypto exchange as well. And there is a proposal that was submitted to Parliament. Parliament's probably not the right term. So this bill is being produced by Roque Gervasani, basically a council member of the Northern Misiones Province. And the bill that he's proposing is the launch of a state-backed crypto exchange platform, a private and public limited company that is decentralized, but has a majority state ownership. Interesting combination. Decentralized, but owned by the state. Little contradictory there, but that's what he's proposing at this time. So again, this is an exchange. So we went from earlier what I was speaking about was a blockchain technology, adopting that. Now we're seeing how countries are starting with the use of crypto first as a way to migrate into that slowly. Okay, here's another one. Belarus. State-owned Belarus bank launches crypto exchange amid sanctions against Lukashenko. I can't pronounce that. So here we go. The biggest bank in Belarus, the state-owned Belarus bank, has announced plans to co-launch a legal crypto exchange service that will allow customers in both Belarus and neighboring Russia to buy and sell crypto using Visa payment cards. At a time when the EU approved new sanctions against Belarusian officials, including self-proclaimed President Alexander I can't pronounce his name, who was not recognized by the Western countries. Wow. Again, this particular bank is 99.5% owned by the Government State Property Committee and has been a partner in the White Bird since 2018. So this is Russia. This is a lot more complicated than I can imagine. As I read through the article here, it gets very complicated. It looks like there is a fight for power and a fight for wealth that's happening over in that location of the world. Here's another article that's talking about Russia. Russian government indirectly gets into Bitcoin trading and custody. So here it starts off with a conflict of interest. We have, while Russian lawmakers are considering restrictive crypto regulations, a Switzerland registered subsidiary of Russian state-owned Gazprom Bank starts offering crypto trading and custody services. Gazprom Bank said it received authorization from the Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authority to provide cryptocurrency bank accounts to corporate and institutionalized clients. Initially, these services will be provided to a limited number of clients. It's just beginning to start. The new services will include institutional-grade storage solutions and the purchase and sale of course, Bitcoin. Well, there you have it. I mean, a lot's happening on a governmental level with the adoption of currencies, and it's not going smoothly. And there's a lot of infighting amongst themselves to figure out who can be top dog and get in there first before the competitors do. So, from my point of view, as a crypto enthusiast and as an investor and as now an entrepreneur, I mean, I think this is all good. Go for it, fight however you guys want to fight. All that it means is that adoption is coming. It means that the value of Bitcoin goes up, the value of altcoins goes up. It's all good from my perspective. So I hope this information was, informative to you, number one, and two, a little bit entertaining, and just made you more aware of what's happening. So as you are formulating your own strategies of how to invest and where to invest, you've got this in the back of your head. So again, my name is Chris Brown. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again. If you like the information, hit the like button below, become a subscriber of the channel, and remember, Crypto Novus is where newbies like yourself can become masters. Have a good night.